Hey guys, welcome to You the Boss podcast, episode 14. I'm your host, Pam. Today we're going to be talking about what separates us from being a kid. A few months ago, I did a poll about this on my Instagram, and I asked my followers, what separates us from being a kid? Like, where does it stop? And I got like a couple of different answers, but most people just said bills and responsibilities. That was like the popular thing that I saw. And I thought to myself, like, really? Because sometimes I really do feel like I'm still a young kid that just has, adult money or just has access to doing adult things. And I really like to bring this topic up because no one ever really seems to say anything but money, or should I say bills. No one ever says, we never stop being kids, or we should never stop being a kid. No one ever says, some people they'll say like trauma or like this changed in my life or that kind of thing. But like, I really want to position in asking, what separates us from being a kid? At what point do you go from loving to play video games, though some people never grow out of that, but that's a different topic. At what point do you just stop doing childlike things? I don't mean acting childish and playing with people's feelings and things like that. I mean, genuinely just doing things on a day-to-day that are not quote-unquote being an adult. Bills really shouldn't be the popular answer. That's my opinion. And here's why. Because I would like to live in a world where we can be like, you know what? I actually consider myself still a kid. I'm responsible and I take care of the things that I need to take care of, and I'm a person of my word. But we're just not meant to not have fun. And I don't mean that, let's say drinking alcohol or going out with friends and dancing. Like, I'm not saying that that's not fun, but there comes a point where like that can't be the only thing that's fun in life, right? That can't be the only thing that we find to be fun, to be childlike. Like, we're not supposed to just work and sometimes get together with family and like that's it. Like, that's not the life that we're meant to live. We're meant to thrive. We're meant to do things in the world that change it and that make it a better place. I know you're probably thinking, yeah, Pam, but that's unrealistic. Not everything in life is happy. Not everything in life is butterflies. And I'm here to tell you, you're right. That's true. But that's why as kids, we fell and we hurt ourselves, right? We hurt ourselves. We had little spats with our friends, and like Susie wasn't talking to Katie, and Peter and Bob were mad at each other. Those were things that did happen. You got teeth pulled as a kid. You went to the doctor and got shots, and those weren't fun times. So it's not that as kids we don't experience bad things. Me for one, by the time I was 10, I had been to I don't know how many funerals because my family members are so much older. By the time I was 10, I only had one grandmother and she passed away. I had lost uncles and aunts and different close family friends. So like, we know things at a young age that make us sad. But my point is, what isn't realistic is that you're here to only pay bills. That you're here only to be in your profession, whatever it is, to be whatever your career is, and then you just come home and pay bills, and like you occasionally go on vacation and you occasionally spend time with family, and you do like one or two trips during the year. Like, that's not what life is. And I know that this episode is coming out, January of 2022. So we're entering a third year of a pandemic. So don't misunderstand me when I say I know that there's things happening. I'm talking about your mindset, though. I'm not talking about things that you can't control in the outside world. I'm not talking about actually keeping up with their responsibilities as a partner, a mom, a dad, a husband, wife, girlfriend. If you're single, I'm not talking about not living up to your responsibilities at your job, within your family, with your parents and your siblings. Like, I'm talking about your mindset. So continuing on with that, you're probably thinking, well, Pam, if you have the answers, I've been through so much. I've been through so much mental health-wise these last couple of years. I have been through so much. I don't know how to be a kid because so many things have happened to me, and I'm just so reserved, and I'm so anxious, and I'm so paranoid, and all these different things. You know what? I'm not a therapist. So we all need help from somewhere. As kids, we need help sometimes crossing the street, and our parents had to drive us places, and they needed to give us money to help us. So as an adult, those same things are going to therapy, talking to people who understand you, writing it out, journaling, exercising, things like that. I'm not a professional, so this is not a one size fits all. But again, I'm talking about your mindset. So I'm not invalidating your situation. I'm saying, what can we do to reignite that childlike joy? One of the things when I think about what is something that I want to do for myself that isn't involved with money, it's not involved with necessarily personal growth like reading or the different audios that I listen to, but something that I want to reignite in myself that is solidly for myself is to be more like a kid, to come out more of just bringing more joy to my life. So I came up with a list. I like to give you guys lists here and there. And it's only 3 things. It's not only 3 things. It's 3 things that I hope you find value in, and also that, when I wrote them out and I thought about them, I said, you know what? These are coming from my heart. This isn't just like I researched this and like here is this. The first one is laugh often. I want to laugh more. I want to get around people that make me laugh. I want to find more humor in things. I think that we should look up funny videos during the day. And I don't just mean on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and whatever your form of social media, because that's a rabbit hole that can be dug very, very quickly. I just mean not everything is 100% serious 100% of the time, myself included. Sometimes we can get really wrapped up in what's going on that we kind of suck that in and we just forget how to laugh. So get around more people that make you laugh. Laugh more. I don't know about you, but I'm not a A-list celebrity. I'm not concerned. I am concerned. I do take care of my skin, but I'm not concerned with not laughing or smiling because I don't want smile wrinkles. I'm here to die with a face full of wrinkles because I laughed so much in my long life that no one can look at me and be like, she never smiled. She never laughed. Like, no. It's going to be real visible to my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren that I laughed. And number 2, remind yourself of things that you used to do as a kid. And I don't just mean like watch cartoons and play video games. Like that doesn't only make your childhood. But what about playing board games, playing cards? When you used to get excited about making cupcakes so that you could share it. You could share it with, your family. You could share it with your friends. What about, reading a good book? Not a book that necessarily is dark and gloomy, but also something that just brings you joy. something that's funny. You know, what did you do as a kid to really that really made you feel good? Do that. Bring that out in yourself. It's kind of like using that as one of the big multi-purpose things that you use to turn your candle on or your stove on. It's like a lighter. Use that to light that childlike mindset in yourself. And number 3, which is probably the most important to me, care less about what people have to say about you. Care less about that. Care more about what your 13-year-old self would say if they saw you. If they spent an entire day with you, what would they say? Would they agree about you being miserable at work? Would they agree with you maybe crying on the way home from work or from somewhere because maybe you just kind of forgot to remind yourself of your childlike mindset today? Would 13-year-old you care what anyone has to say about what you post on your Instagram story? Or what that person in your life whose attention you're trying to get, who isn't giving you the attention? Would 13-year-old you really be that consumed with what everyone else is thinking about you? Or would 13-year-old want to see how you turned out? To see how you still have fun, you still love the relationships in your life, you still find joy even on the worst of days, even in the middle of a global pandemic. And it's not to bring that up and act like it's just this thing that we're all experiencing, like nothing's happening. You know, I would never want to invalidate that, because whether it's been a right hook or a straight 50-yard line tackle, we've all felt this pandemic in one way or another. So worry less about what people have to say about you and worry more about what your 13-year-old self, and more importantly, what your current self has to say. If you like your skincare and you spend whatever amount of money on it, you want to be a little extra, good for you. That is a real childlike mindset to say, I don't care what anyone has to say. I'm not extra. I just like what I like. I'm not bougie because no one else is maintaining whatever it is that I like. If you're working hard and you're not hurting anybody and what it is that you're doing, don't care about what anybody else has to say about anything that you're doing. And that might be the hardest, because it feels like the older we get, the less we should care, but the more conscious we are. Oh, I can't wear that because what are they going to think? Oh, I can't do this because what are they going to think? What will my followers say? Look, I don't mean it disrespectfully to my followers. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have a podcast. No one would listen. I'm not discrediting that. I'm saying just care less about other people's opinions. Because ultimately, when you put your head on the pillow, none of those people matter. None of that matters. It's you and your head about 75% of the day. So be more concerned about what you think, how you feel. Make yourself laugh. Look for things that make you laugh and make you smile. And remind yourself of the things that you loved to do as a kid. I want to leave you guys with this. I hope that whenever you're listening to this, wherever you're listening to this, if it's during the winter or sometime in the future of the summer, the spring, the fall, I hope that this brings you joy. I hope that this week you can get out and do something that reminds you of when you were a kid. I hope that you can find something that will take off that sting that you feel of paying bills and having responsibilities. And you just kick your feet up on the couch and say, today I feel like my 13-year-old self. Today I feel good about what I've done. I've laughed. I was around people that made me laugh. I did something that reminded me of my childhood. And I did something that really, truthfully, I don't care what anybody has to say about it. Thank you for listening. Come back next week for another episode of You the Boss podcast.